grimy. And romantic comedies leave me with a Jude Law-shaped hole in my heart. In fact, it is my belief that I feel emotions approximately 14 times stronger than the average human being. Therefore, it is no surprise to me that most of my feelings of failure and inadequacy come not necessarily from movies, but from reading the Sunday comics. Oh, but not just any comics. Peanuts. Charlie Brown, the short, bald man-child himself. Every time Lucy gives him, and subsequently me, a small glimpse of hope, she yanks the football right out from under me. I mean him. It's depressing. Not only is it just plain mean, but it does a number on Charlie's self-esteem. No wonder he never got the attention of the little red-headed girl. Well, that might have been more so due to the fact that he was short. And bald. And a man-child. But regardless, Lucy is the most vile animated creature since Cruella de Vil. But I can't help but think that Lucy's actions are not all her fault. As a society, we have a history of empowering these people, such as Lucy, to be the mean, bossy rulers of the playground that they are. Or if we're not idolizing them, we're simply standing by, watching them take advantage of others, which can be just as bad as actually being the bully. We've all been in that situation, whether we're yanking the football away at the last second or going for the kick. Someone who knows both sides of that spectrum is interior design expert Tom Felicia, whom you may know from the hit show Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. When discussing some of the past participants on his show, he so eloquently expressed on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360, no less, "Mean people are no fun." Duh. While this might be true, it isn't always reflected in the society that we live in. We idolize mean, aggressive people as go-getters full of personality. We worship people who don't bite their tongue, whether it's title character Dr. House sexually harassing his boss, Dr. Cox pointing out the stupidity and spinelessness of his coworkers on Scrubs, or Dr. Phil telling people how to run their lives. And apparently all doctors are really mean. Oh wait, Dr. Phil isn't a real doctor. Regardless, these are all people who get their ego boost from tearing down the reputations of others. And it doesn't end there. Ask someone who their favorite character on Will and Grace is, and I guarantee you they won't say Will or Grace, but rather Jack and Karen, their catty friends. Mean people dominate our televisions. And surprisingly, we can find further representations of our day-to-day lives in other areas of TV. For example, Recess. In my opinion, the best children's show since Peanuts, has all the members of our modern caste system in 5th grade form. There's King Bob. He makes all the decisions, and he represents the Lucys. The poetic Monkey is an updated version of Linus. The girly Ashleys collectively encompass the traits of Little Sally. And of course, T.J. Detweiler rounds out the circle as our very own manifestation of Charlie Brown, everyone's favorite good guy. Now, while these characters, much like the Peanuts characters, have their own distinct personalities, they can all be categorized into two groups: the mean kids, and the kids who are ruled by the mean kids. Now, the playground is an interesting location for pinpointing just where our malevolence comes from. For example, when we were younger and we'd get teased, the first things our mothers told us were they're just jealous, or they were only mean to cover up their own insecurities. Maybe Lucy was harsh to Charlie because she was dealing with the psychological pains of her unrequited love for Schroeder. But then when the value of the dead composer over you, that hurts. And look at Jack and Karen, whom I mentioned before. Karen is an alcoholic in a loveless marriage, and Jack has been struggling with his homosexuality for years. Another example of bully vulnerability presented itself when my high school newspaper did an entire package issue on violence and bullying in schools. The bully, interviewed anonymously, stated that it did indeed start as a means to cope with his own personal shortcomings. It was sort of a way to pick on others before they could pick on him. But interestingly, he stated that as it continued through school, it simply became a habit. At the 2007 Indiana Association of Student Council State Convention, Ken Johnson, chaplain for the Indianapolis Colts and international motivational speaker, stated that every act of senseless violence can be be traced back to bullying and words that belittle. He then went on to quote the mantra, hurt people, hurt people. It becomes a vicious cycle. Hurt people, hurt people. Now in the equation we've examined, we have the Lucys and the Charlies, but we're missing a main component. The other characters, Marcy, Pigpen, Peppermint Patty, they all stand idly by as Lucy continues to verbally abuse everyone around her. No one wants to stand up to the big bad bully. It's understandable. There are two possible reasons for this. One is the bystander effect. And no, I'm not talking about the term used in radiobiology to describe the effects of cells directly adjacent to those exposed to radiation. I know that's what you all were thinking. I had to clear that up. The bystander effect is also a psychological phenomenon where we, as humans, do not feel inclined to act in large groups. We assume someone else will be there to do our jobs for us. We need to stop assuming that that someone else will be there to put those mean people in their place. We need to grow a collective backbone and know when to tell someone to back down. It's about time we learn how to write our own letters to Santa Claus, because Charlie is always going to be there to do it for us. Another reason we may not be quick to stand up for the little people is because as a society we've proven that we get pleasure from other people's pain. Now I'm not saying we're sick and twisted. Well, not all of us anyway. And it's not so much that we enjoy the pains of other people. It's more so the fact that we need that comfort of knowing that we're better off than them. Our entire society, the American dream, are based on getting ahead. No one wants to be the biggest loser. Scratch that. No one who isn't searching pathetically for 15 minutes of fame on a reality TV show wants to be the biggest loser. Now, it's not as if we laugh maniacally every time Britney Spears gets her kids taken away from her, or checks herself into rehab, or beats an SUV with an umbrella, shaves her head, or forgets to wear underwear. And don't laugh at that. She is a human being. Leave Britney alone. We all saw Chris Crocker's Britney-devoted meltdown on Entertainment Tonight. That's why entertainment news is such a big industry. We love the scandal. We love how messed up people's sordid lives can be. We need that comfort of knowing that we're better off than them. We need that Charlie Brown in our lives to make us feel better about ourselves. And that's sad, because that's the exact sentiment that drives us to do the mean things that we do. Or if we're not being the bullies, we're still watching it all around us. Face it, we're not a nation of doers, and we're barely a nation of thinkers. But luckily for us, Linus is here with his security blanket in tow and a wake-up call for all of us. It's time to make some changes. In that same issue of my high school newspaper, the staff ran a story on a reformed gang member at my school. His mean-spirited attitude started early as freshman year, and it started small. Detentions, fights, petty theft. But then it escalated. By the end of his sophomore year, carrying a gun and doing drugs became the status quo. Luckily, he was able to turn his life around when a concerned teacher took notice. Ultimately, it was decided that the best decision for the student would be to transfer to a different school, away from the life of a juvenile delinquent. And now, he's on the right track, making good grades, and he's away from the mean people whose best interest was themselves, rather than that of a friend. If a gang member can make a major change in his life, there's no doubt we can all make small changes in our lives to make the world a nicer environment for everyone. A friendly hello, a smile to strangers, all it takes to make someone's day better. And I'll admit, sometimes it isn't that easy. Sometimes we need to be able to stand up and speak out. Now, Charles Schultz never did let Charlie make that kick, so it's up to us now. We can either take charge, beat Lucy's punch, or kick that football, or we can strip away our insecurities and be there to hold the football for someone else to kick, so that they can get ahead for a change. Then, at the end of the day, we'll all be able to look in the mirror and say, "You're a good man, Charlie Brown."